Good morning. This is Keloland on the go with all you need to know in news and weather as you start your day.
A former school bus driver and lead will spend time in prison for child pornography. A judge sentenced 73-year-old William Stone to 5 years behind bars, followed by 10 years of supervised release.
In 2020 and 2021, Stone admitted to downloading child pornography and superimposing naked pictures of himself into the images so it looked like he was the one sexually abusing children. Authorities say he would also add clothed photos of local children. Dozens of sex charges have landed a Watertown man behind bars. Robert Hagan is accused of rape, sexual exploitation of a minor, and having sexual contact with a child.
The alleged crimes began last summer and continued into this year. He's pleaded not guilty and is scheduled to be back in court on May 17th. The Manhunt, that's the job of the Minnehaha County Fugitive Task Force.
Each week, the deputies get between 75 and 100 felony warrants to serve to suspected criminals like this man who was taken into custody for child porn.
When we knocked, there wasn't a peephole. He couldn't see who we were outside the door. So he opened the door and then was surprised to see it was us.
Tune in tonight as Don Jorgensen rides along with the Fugitive Task Force as they go after Minnehaha County's most wanted. Meanwhile, the Minnehaha County Sheriff's Office says one business failed a liquor compliance check on Wednesday. Authorities say a total of 46 businesses were checked.
Some of the businesses that passed include Corner Bar in Valley Springs, Doghouse Bar in Baltic, Tailgaters Bar and Grill in Brandon, and the Dugout in Hartford. Cubby's in Del Rapids was the lone business to fail the check.
Now let's get a check of our weather with meteorologist Scott Munt. Good morning, Scott. Going to be a spring day today.
Yeah, we are looking at temperatures in the 60s and 70s for afternoon highs. You're throwing some April showers, maybe in a couple of April thunderstorms as we go into the afternoon and evening hours. We could see some gusty winds along with those. Temperatures today in the 60s and 70s. We will continue periods of rain as we do go through at least the first half of the weekend. And, you know, speaking of the weekend, it will be cool and it will be windy. More details in the Keloland Live Doppler forecast with Brian coming up.
Thank you, Scott. Firefighters in Brookings County were kept busier earlier this week with two fires just 90 minutes apart.
The first happened just before 2 o'clock Tuesday afternoon, northeast of White. The sheriff's office says a resident was burning brush when the fire left its desired area and entered a tree line. Once there, the fire burned dry brush. Officials say no structures were in the path of the fire.
Then just after 3:30, the Brookings Fire Department was called out to an area south of town for a prescribed burn that got out of control. The sheriff's office says crews were able to put the fire out after a large portion of the field was burned.
Funeral arrangements are now set for the volunteer firefighter who died in the line of duty last weekend. The funeral for Fred Fedler will be on April 29th at 10:30 a.m. at the Chester Area High School. Several first responders from around the region are planning to attend.
The family asked that donations in Fedler's honor be made to the Chester Volunteer Fire Department, Our Savior Lutheran Church, or Dakota Heritage. Fedler died after suffering a medical emergency at the scene of a fire last Saturday morning. The commissioner of the South Dakota Governor's Office of Economic Development will leave his role on May 22nd. Steve Westra has served the board since 2019. It works with businesses and others on financial programs and government loans, as well as other projects.
Most recently, Westra and the group have been involved in discussions about the $200 million the state has planned for affordable housing projects. This is the second cabinet-level leader of the governors who has announced a departure in roughly a month.
A possible merger of Sanford Health and Fairview Health Services of Minnesota will wait until after May 31st. In the meantime, there's legislation making its way through the Minnesota legislature that could impact how health care mergers happen.
Measures would allow Minnesota's Attorney General to stop a merger if it would negatively impact public health. Also, legislation would not allow any out-of-state entity to entirely or partly control the mHealth Fairview University of Minnesota Medical Center, which is now a part of Fairview Health Services. Check out this report on our website for a closer look. And in an update to a story we brought you earlier this week, a Sioux Falls woman who was one of 50 entrants was the lucky duck who got to adopt Helmet and Goose.
They're the two ducklings who were special needs and nursed back to health by Sue Bassett and Kyle Clary of Runnings.
I mean, like I said, we didn't think they were going to make that first night.
Yep, and also with it being on TV as well, that really put them out there for some really wonderful people to come in and, you know, put their name and number down on the little papers that we have.
The winner was Constance Robertson, who also won a bag of feed, heat lamp, and bedding. Timberlake, a town with a population of about 500 people in north central South Dakota, could soon be home to an NFL player.
SDSU standout tight end Tucker Kraft is expected to be the latest South Dakota to hear his name called in the draft. Tucker's mom, Tasha, says it's just hit her the last couple of days of what's about to happen next.
Everybody's excited. Everybody's going to support. And just starting tomorrow, you know, people that have never even knew how their draft worked or are aware of any of the process at all are all just talking about how they're going to do it, and they're going to, you know, watch. And it's nice. It's the support is amazing.
Friends and family will be gathering with Tucker for a watch party tomorrow. That's a look at some of our top stories.
Now let's go one last look at your weather with meteorologist Brian Karstens. Brian?
All right, weather today, tracking some of that wind, that gusty breeze out of the southwest in Sioux Falls this morning. That's kept those temperatures up on the overnights, and now we're in the 70s today for the southeast, but we also have to watch these scattered popcorn variety showers, thunder showers that'll develop. It'll freckle the radar screens even as early as midday. We'll start seeing some of that. I think more of it during the peak heating of the day, and where these things get a little more organized, there could be some pockets of wind, entrainment of some of that dry air aloft, or at least some of that evaporative cooling. That's kind of a process that brings about some gusty winds, and you'll notice you got a couple lines on radar. If you're involved in some of that, you could get some locally downpours of at least 1/4 to 1/2 inch. But as always, with a situation like this, you're going to have gap zones in between some of these line segments. Now, tonight, overnight, there's probably a little snow in the Black Hills. We still want to mention that. The wind picks up, of course, later today in Rapid, and then that'll be spreading eastward tomorrow. We'll have general winds out of the northwest, 20 to 35 miles per hour. Now, it's not going to rain all day tomorrow, but can we get some showers to even pop back up? Absolutely. On Friday afternoon, that's the 4 o'clock weather map, and those little freckles are out there. They're pretty light, but they are generated, it looks like, in the afternoon. Even on Saturday, there could be more of that as a main area of low pressure organizes to our east. Here's the first one. You can see the progression of that through this evening. There's your cold front into Sioux Falls by 8 o'clock. And then as that rolls east into Minnesota, it'll take the majority of the rain to the east, but it's still a cool pattern. Now, the highs on Saturday, if we can get a little shot at a 60 or a 61 in Sioux Falls, that's probably a good achievement here. And then on Sunday, we're going to drop the numbers because look at all the wind again. That's Sunday afternoon. That's gusts to 45, and it looks pretty cool and blustery to me looking at that forecast. So keep that in mind. We still have a segment of these winds to go. Here's Futurecast on the wind numbers today, or I should say tomorrow. This is Friday afternoon. You'll see there that northwest wind's pretty solid across the region. And then it's even stronger west of Sioux Falls Saturday afternoon. Sioux Falls may get a little break on Saturday for part of the day, but it will catch up to most of eastern Ketherland on Sunday. There's no doubt about that. And even into Monday, we might have to advertise more wind, 20 to 40 from the northwest. So those are the big takeaways we see over the weekend. All in all, though, typical for late April. This is certainly things that we expect after 71 today. We're in the 50s tomorrow, 61 on Saturday, 55 Sunday. Look at next week, though. We're rebounding, aren't we, by Tuesday and Wednesday? We're going to get into a stable pattern of milder weather. So we got to get through this little fit of cooler April showers and wind and those type of things. Aberdeen, certainly that 53 on Sunday, not going to feel very warm with that northwest wind. But 71, that's our forecast on Wednesday. And I think we're easily into the 70s for Pierre next week. So, and also, by the way, this is not a wet pattern. Even though it's got some instability at times, we're still going to probably average below normal on rainfall the next 7 days. Rapid City, mid-60s Saturday, but 70s Tuesday, Wednesday. Check out more details at KELOLAND.com.